Ma'am, thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate it. And I want to tell all the expert witnesses thank you for your testimony today. It's fascinating. The use of forensic science has changed the way that we're able to study crimes and prosecute wrongdoers by providing more factual clarity in the evidence that we collect. The accuracy that has been brought to the courtroom since the introduction of forensic science is really pretty astounding. And I noticed in your opening statements in 2016 where the Texas Forensic Science Commission issued a decision recommending a moratorium on the use of bite mark evidence in future criminal prosecutions in Texas. I remember that. I practiced dentistry for 36 years in a rural area in East Texas, and I remember close to 20 years ago, our sheriff's office brought a container of skeletal remains by my dental office and asked me if I would help in trying to establish an identification. And I did my report, and they brought. I told the chief deputy. I said, "Well, I've done everything I can do. I have to have some comparisons." And I thought it'd be 6 months, and just a few days later, he brought me several dental records from other dental offices, and we made a positive identification. And sadly, they were never able to solve that case. But the family did receive some closure about what happened to their young son. It was a U.S. Marine who had been home on leave. So anyway, I thank you very much. It's certainly an important aspect of our criminal justice system. And you had mentioned, several of you, about how long it takes to be trained and certified to be a forensic scientist. I know how long it takes to become a dentist, although we do have specialties in forensics and dentistry, and that does take a little while longer. But did I hear one of you say it took about 2 years to get trained up to do this? You said that, Mr. Gamet?
Yes, sir. It can take somewhere between 6 months to 2 years is generally a training period that we would quote.
Okay. So the training do you have just academia, universities and colleges, or is this kind of like a vocation, or what type of 2-year training does that entail?
We hire scientists to work at our laboratories, so generally they will have a 4-year degree or a more advanced degree,
Okay.
master's degree, PhD
Great.
in the science that they're working in.
Okay, thank you. And I have the privilege of representing a Houston district that stretches all the way to Louisiana, by the way, and I want to just take a minute to commend the Houston Forensic Science Center. HFSC was an early adopter of high standards approved by the Organization of Scientific Area Committees of Forensic Sciences, of which many of you know is administered by NIST, and it has strengthened this nation's use of forensic sciences. And Ms. Garcia, you're a Texan. Do you have any recommendations or ideas on how NIST could build off of their ongoing relationship with states to better their systems and make improvements?
Yes, sir. Actually, we've invited NIST to our last 2 meetings, and we are trying to follow in HFSC's footsteps. As you mentioned, they adopted the standards early by working with all of our labs so that we take the same position statewide. And I think what NIST is going to need to do is go state to state and work with the responsible laboratories to make that happen everywhere. One thing I just wanted to note quickly is with respect to human identification using dental records, we have no issues with that.
Oh, yes, I understand.
Okay,
That's
just
right.
to make it clear.
But I graduated from dental school a while back, and I remember when bite marks were supposed to be positive proof, and that all went out the door, at least in the state of Texas in 2016, so I understand. Ms. Ballou, would you care to comment on that as well, on the with NIST and ongoing relationships with states?
So one of the activities NIST has taken under their wing was to request the NIST scientists to actually visit and take part in crime laboratories. And we've done so with the Maryland State Police, Montgomery County Crime Lab. Those are both fairly close to the Gaithersburg campus. And we've also visited several agencies in New Jersey and I believe Pennsylvania as well. And it has turned to be a real eye-opener to our scientists. When I first arrived at NIST, coming from a crime laboratory, I was asked to help the research move faster to be applied into the actual workings of the crime laboratory. And when I was shown some of the results of the research, I said, well, why are you using those items to test? And they said, well, these are the pure items we always test to determine whether the technology works. I said, well, let me put some spit on it, dirt on it, and some other things, and that would represent what we truly receive from the crime scene. And so it's been a real educational process, and NIST has really expanded the activities that have taken forth on this.
Thank you very much. It's fascinating. I could ask all of you questions for about an hour, but running out of time, so I'll yield back. Thank you, Madam Chair.